Yup, that's right, we are doing another video where we're just gonna go out there and read. In particular, there was a post made that talks about some of the comments from Elliotte Friedman from the 32 Thoughts podcast. This was from 3 days ago, a heavy week in Manhattan. You know, it kind of sounds like a Woody Allen movie title, not gonna lie. A heavy week in Manhattan. Oh, yeah, no, it's because he made A Rainy Day in New York. Right, that movie sucked, by the way. Anyways, we're talking about Elliotte Friedman and his comments made on this podcast in regards to one of the only teams that is actually not playing in the NHL today. So, we're heading over to the Buffalo Sabres subreddit and reading what Vader being summarized was Elliotte Friedman's assessment as to the most damning and probably most accurate assessment of the organization, in my opinion. Now, full disclosure, Vader Bing says they are a Leafs fan, not a Buffalo Sabres fan, but they did go out there and used Elliotte Friedman's comments to say, hey, this is what's wrong with your team on the Buffalo Sabres subreddit. So Elliotte Friedman on 32 Thoughts had the most damning and probably most accurate assessment of the organization, in my opinion. I'm paraphrasing here, but he basically said, if I'm the Sabres and GM Kevin Adams, I'm looking at one single thing first as to why the Buffalo Sabres have failed over and over at identifying this one issue. Ryan O'Reilly leaves Buffalo and wins the Conn Smythe. Sam Reinhart leaves Buffalo and scores 57 goals, wins the Cup, and is one of the best forwards in the league. Jack Eichel, he leaves Buffalo, he forced his way out, but still, and then he becomes a top 10 center league-wide. Brandon Montour, he leaves Buffalo and becomes a huge key piece on a great team. Linus Ullmark, he leaves Buffalo and wins a Vezina trophy. Basically, the Buffalo Sabres are either unable to see the talent or unable to cultivate it into anything meaningful. Until they figure that out, they will continue to flounder. Leafs fan coming in peace here, but it's the first time I've heard someone rationally explain what appears to be the core issue for the team. Buffalo was supposed to be the next team a couple of years ago, and it went nowhere. I do miss the Friday-Saturday back-to-back rivalry with the Leafs when the Sabres were good. Anyways, don't downvote me too much. Go Bills. They're my home NFL team. And I actually didn't realize that it was this bad until it was laid out all in a graph that's easy to read. Because, oh yeah, obviously everybody talks about Ryan O'Reilly, everybody talks about Reinhart, everybody talks about Eichel, but these other two at the bottom, oh boy, that's stinky. Brandon Montour is a stud of a defenseman and one of the better guys to have suited up for that Florida Panthers Stanley Cup championship team last year. Linus Ullmark, part of a crazy good tandem with Jeremy Swayman and was a Vezina caliber guy. Sure, Linus Ullmark did eventually fade away and lose his starting position to that same Jeremy Swayman, but ultimately, there are so many top-tier players in the Buffalo organization that found themselves being top-tier players elsewhere, just not in Buffalo. In fact, you know, I needed to go out there and take a look at this. How did Brandon Montour end up in Seattle? Was it free agency? I think it was free agency, right? Yeah, look at that. Last year, he had 33 points in 66 games played with the Florida Panthers. But, yeah, free agency. What was the contract that he signed with the Seattle Kraken? Big splash, Kraken land, elite D-man, Brandon Montour. 7 years, $7.14 million AAV. There you go. That's a 7x7, so $49 million defenseman that the Buffalo Sabres ended up letting go of. Jack Eichel is a top center in the NHL. Sam Reinhart is one of the best scorers in the NHL. Last year, I mean, look at this crazy stat line. 94 points! That guy was a Buffalo Sabre. Ay, what in the world? We always knew the Sam Reinhart deal was a win-win for both teams involved, but when you think about it like this, hey, the Buffalo Sabres traded away this dude. Like, sure, I get it, there were so many really good things that the Sabres got in that trade. First-round pick, Devin Levi. I'm pretty sure if I try to recall off the bat, who was that first-round pick used on? Florida Panthers first-round pick 2022 draft. Was it Wasn't Isaac Rosen. Was it Yuri Kulich? I think it was Yuri Kulich. Let's go over to the 2022 NHL Entry Draft. Yeah, I'm kind of stalling here just because I don't remember the exact details. 2022, we'll scroll into the second half. Was it Yuri Kulich? Okay, no, Noah Ostlund? Yes, Yuri Kulich, I'm pretty sure it was. Anyways, let's go back over onto this Reddit post and read what some Buffalo Sabres fans call as the actual solution here, and how they're responding to Elliotte Friedman making this huge comment. The top comment from Start Button Press says, "The cycle is different in my eyes. It's give your best prospects outsized responsibility, then they get burnt out just at the beginning of their prime, then they are amazing on new teams with less responsibility and in their primes. I don't think it's failure to deploy or develop identifying talent. We rush it. Dylan Cousins, Jack Quinn, JJ Peterka, Devin Levi. I don't think Tage Thompson is going to burn out in the same way since he came into responsibility during his prime, not before it. Dahlin, I really don't know. He seems very stoic and he seems to love it here. And please, don't prove I'm right. And please, okay, that's the wrong sentence, my bad. Please, whatever you do, do not trade Zach Benson. Him and Dahlin make an actual core of players who try super hard." This is very much how I feel about it as well. The Buffalo Sabres are the youngest team in the league, I think, an average age of about 25. Once that gets to 26, 27, we should see a sizable improvement in consistency. There's no shortage of talent on this team, it's just that the outsized responsibility plus subsequent burnout slows their growth. I have to remind myself, Dylan Cousins is 23, Dahlin is 24, Power and Peterka are 22, Byram's 23. Not only are the Buffalo Sabres a young team, but their weighted average of ice time by age must be even more at the bottom. That's basically my point, is to beware the early blow-up of this core. It'll be the same situation as before, because it is that situation, letting good young players go before their prime. It's why I didn't like trading Casey Mittelstadt, although Byram is a good return. And oh yeah, Zach Benson is 19 years old. Man, this core of a team, ridiculous. In fact, I want to go out there and actually dive into it one more time here. Just kind of go over the tail of the tape. What year was that? When everybody was on the Buffalo Sabres? Let's just assume, 2016, 17. Let's just toss one out there. Yeah, so Eichel, O'Reilly, Reinhart. Oh my goodness. What a crazy good top of the line lineup right there. Evan Rodriguez was over here. Delorier. Was Brandon Montour in Buffalo? No, he wasn't. Linus Ullmark was with Buffalo, though. So was Robin Lehner. In fact, look at this goaltending core. 9-2-3 from Anders Nilsson, 9-2-0 from Robin Lehner, 9-17 from Ullmark. That's ridiculous. How good was this darn team at goaltending? But they still didn't make the dance. Oh yeah, it's because their top guys didn't score all too many points. Oh, it's kind of traumatic, honestly, when you look at how good they were. This team has a leadership and management crisis, and has since the beginning of the first rebuild way back in 2014. Pat LaFontaine leaving very shortly into his tenure as president of Hockey Ops was a warning sign. Tim Murray tore the team down to studs to tank for Connor McDavid, and whined when we dropped to second overall to pick a player that would have been number 1 overall in any year that wasn't 2015 or 16. As a result, the Sabres have consistently put too much pressure on their young pieces to carry the team themselves without much, if any, help from quality vets with playoff experience and or locker room presence. Ryan O'Reilly and Evander Kane were absolute messes during this tenure here. Yeah, because Ryan O'Reilly, I don't remember if y'all remember, but he did drive his truck into a Tim Hortons one night. Literally, he destroyed everything. It was pretty bad. And Taylor Hall and Eric Stahl absolutely phoned it in and just went through the motions. Eichel, Reinhart, Ullmark, etc. succeeded because they went to teams with actual vision and leadership, and until the Sabres figure that out, they're going to keep spinning their tires until they are forced to enter a third rebuild. I will always defend Ryan O'Reilly during his tenure here. Everyone around the organization and on the team highly respected O'Reilly, and he worked his behind off here. It was just our crap media and fans that dogged him. O'Reilly wouldn't duck the post-game interviews and refused to throw anyone under the bus. Blaming himself night after night wore him down. He hated losing, and he got traded for it. So, what are your thoughts about the problem, the symptom, the diagnosis of what's wrong with the Buffalo Sabres, as Elliotte Friedman labels it out here? The fact that there are such good quality pieces in this organization that find themselves being so amazing elsewhere. Is Friedman right? Is Friedman wrong? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.